Sure. So I'm mayor of the city of Henderson, Michelle Romero, and I'm born and raised in Henderson. I've lived here my whole life. I've raised my kids here. My grandkids are being raised here, and I love this city. It's the second largest city in the state of Nevada, which is in the West. And for all you outside of the United States, it's in the close to California, so the close to the West Coast of the United States. We are a city of 340,000 people, a little over that now. And before I became mayor, I actually worked for the city for 25 years. So I have been a public servant most of my adult life. And when I retired fairly young. And I knew that I had a really unique background of public service and of working with developers and development. And I understood development very well. And so I knew I had a lot to give back. My parents made it very clear to me that public service and giving back to your community was very, very important. And so I wanted to continue doing that. And so the person that was my city council person was termed out. She could no longer run. And so I went to talk to her and told her I was interested in running for city council. And she helped me. She helped me run for city council. I won that seat. And then 3.5 years later, I won the mayor's seat. And so that very quickly, I have 4 children and 10 grandchildren. And so that's very quickly my background.
That's great. That's so great. Do you mind if we jump right into some student
Go
questions?
right in.
Okay, so some of the kids emailed me. This one actually came from Henderson, but one of the kids wanted to know what inspired you to pursue a career in public service and how has being a native in Henderson influenced your leadership style?
I kind of just told you a little bit about what inspired me. I loved my job at the city. I was the redevelopment manager, which meant that I was in charge of making sure that the older areas of our city had the investment and were brought up to the same standards as some of the newer parts of our city. And I got to work with developers and residents and business owners, and it was an incredible job. And again, I was able to retire early and was able to run for office and get in. I loved being a council person. I love being able to help people. And because I have lived here my whole life, I I I know a ton of people in the city, and I know when somebody has an issue, who to talk to, who to go to for help, how we can get this person in pointed in the right direction. And so for me, it's been really special because I've lived with many of these people my entire life, and I get to work with many of them on a regular basis. In fact, right now he's just getting ready to retire, but I'm working with the city manager. We have a manager mayor form of government, and we went to high school together. So we've known each other almost our whole lives and have a really great working relationship. So for me, it's been extra special to be able to give back to the community that I was raised in.
That's great. Great answer. We have a question from Gabriel in France. Gabriel, you can unmute to ask. You had an awesome question.
What is your main issue as a mayor?
The main issue as a mayor is there's a lot of issues, but probably the main one. We are known in Henderson for our quality of life, but we're at the same time we're growing pretty fast. We have about a 1.6% growth rate every year, where in some parts of the country, cities are experiencing negative growth. People are moving elsewhere. That's not happening here. People are moving here. And so trying to maintain quality of life while balancing the new development that's coming in and making sure that we have the infrastructure in place, that we have the correct public safety in place, all those kinds of things, so that people still want to live here and think of it as a great place to live. That's probably the single biggest issue that is difficult to address.
Very good. Very good. that you're able to address all that stuff. And guys, thank you again for the questions. We have a lot. We're going to try and get through as many as we can. We have Dahlia, and Dahlia is in Spain. Dahlia, go ahead and ask your question. You had a good question, friend.
Hi, it was nice to meet you. So I have this question. What was the most difficult decision to make that you made as a mayor?
There's a lot of them. It's very, very difficult when something is proposed for a neighborhood and the people in the neighborhood really don't want it, but you're required by law to move it forward. So some uses are federally protected uses, housing for seniors, churches, things like that. And so when the neighbors come out and they're so angry that something's being proposed next to their neighborhood and there's not much you can do about it, that's a really difficult situation to be in. A, because those people elected you to represent them, and B, because you wouldn't want something, as a mayor, I wouldn't want something in my neighborhood that I didn't want. And so the best that we can do in those situations is try to address the concerns one by one so that we mitigate those problems or potential problems to the greatest extent possible so that there's the least impact to the neighborhood. That's probably the hardest thing, is when people are so angry about something, and there's not a lot of latitude to address that.
Okay, good, great answer. And on the other end of that, Nicole, you had an awesome question about the fun aspects of her job. Go ahead and ask your question, buddy.
What's the most fun part of being the mayor?
The most fun part, actually, this time of year in particular, is my most favorite part of being mayor, because I get to do all kinds of fun things. So just today, this morning, I was with the Rotary Club, which is a nonprofit organization that gives back to the community. And I was with them this morning. We took underprivileged children shopping for Christmas, and it's called Santa Clothes because it's for clothes shopping. And I got to take an 8-year-old child and take him Christmas shopping. And then tonight I have a Christmas lighting. We have our tree lighting ceremony and drone show. Tomorrow we're going to be in a Christmas parade. In about 2 weeks, I get to bring Christmas to one of our most at-risk schools with the most underprivileged kids in our city. And we bring Christmas to them. We bring Santa Claus in, we bring presents, we bring shoes for every student in the school. And so this time of year in particular I love it. I love being able to do things that people are really happy about, especially when it deals with children.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely wonderful. And you take public service to that next level. And that's one of the questions that got sent actually from here in Henderson. One of the kids wanted to know, what advice do you have for students who are interested in contributing to their local community and if they want to make a difference?
That's a great question. We have lots and lots of opportunities, and every city has lots of opportunities to participate on boards, or to work with nonprofits, to donate your time, to give back to your community. It's a great way to find out about the greatest needs of your community. It's a great way to find out what's happening in your community and what issues are important. The more you can pay attention to what's going on, to your city council meetings, to planning commission meetings, and know what's happening in your city, so that as you come up and you're ready to eventually run for office, you have a solid foundation of knowing your city and what makes it tick and what the people want to see and what works and what doesn't work. And that is very helpful. And also, knowing yourself. You have to know, because people will attack you, people will make stuff up about you. They think they can say anything they want about you on social media, whether it's true or not. And so you have to really be comfortable knowing yourself and not worrying about the chatter that's out there, people saying things. You know what you do, you know your values, you know what you bring to the table, and you don't let anything else distract you.
That's great advice. And I know some of the countries that participate, not everyone has freedom of speech. So there is a double-edged sword to that.
Yep.
So we will go with a few more student questions, then we'll let you go. This is Pau. Pau, you had an awesome question. Go ahead and unmute. It's from across the world.
So, what do you recommend to control your nerves before and during a speech?
A lot of practice. I used to hate public speaking. It made me so nervous. I'd feel like I couldn't breathe and my face would turn red. And now just the more you do it, the easier it gets. But I try to just make sure that I know the topic that we're talking about, that I have prepared myself, and that usually when I'm asked to speak, it's about something about the city, and usually I'm the one in the room that knows more about it than anybody else. And so I feel like, people are generally happy that I'm there sharing information. One of the things that was really, really important to me as mayor is to have transparency in government. So we do a lot of informal meetings where I'm just out in the community. People can show up and ask me any question they want, anything that's going on in the city, any concern that they have, anything that's on their mind. I meet with them and then we address those issues one by one. And so the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. But taking deep breaths, preparing yourself, and just having confidence that you know your topic, it makes it easier.
True mastery of the subject that you're speaking on, right? So Carlota, and I believe you're in Spain. Is it Spain? You can unmute. You had a very good question.
Hi, what would you say is the key to success?
The key to success, some of what I said before, you gain as much knowledge as you possibly can on whatever it is that you're trying to do. The more knowledge is power. So go to school, pay attention in school, get your education, and then have confidence in yourself. Just like I said before, know yourself, know your worth, know what you bring to the table, and don't let anybody distract you from your goals. If you have a goal, if your goals don't scare you, you're probably not challenging yourself enough. So you need to just constantly be challenging yourself to do the next thing, or to do the hard thing, or to make the hard choice. And the more you do that, the more confidence you will gain, the more knowledge you will gain. You need to not be afraid to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, and it's what you learn from those mistakes and what you do with that information afterwards that will help shape you going into the future. So all of those things work to help you be successful.
Great advice. We'll go with two more student questions and we'll let you go. Marina, you can ask your question. You had a really good one.
Hi, I would like to know what formation or studies do you need to become a mayor? Do you have to study a lot?
I happen to have a degree in public administration, which is for government, for running government, but mayors have come from all aspects. They have different backgrounds, and depending on what we have a mayor and 4 council members. And so we each come from different backgrounds. So I'm not an expert, for example, in finance. I know it and I can do it, but I'm not an expert in it. And so I rely on the expert in that area to help me. And so making sure that you surround yourself with people who have a different background than you do helps a lot. But you can have a business background, you can have a political science background, you can have public administration, all those things, anything that you can gain that gives you an idea. I mean, you think about a city and all the things that we have to do, everything from parks to public safety to streets to engineering to community development, zoning, planning, all of those things requires it's widespread. So you have to kind of know a little bit about everything, but you gain that knowledge the more you're around it. So surround yourself with people who have different skill sets than you do, and then work together, be a collaborator.
Awesome advice. And we have our final student question. This comes from Henrique. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. He's in Portugal. Go ahead and ask your question, Enrique.
So, hi, Mayor. I have a question for you that it is in the United States to become a mayor of a city, is it more important which party the mayor belongs to or the type of person he or she is and the relationship that the mayor has with the people from the city is running to? Thank you.
For at least in the state of Nevada, I don't know if it's everywhere, but in the state of Nevada, I know it's not everywhere. All local government is nonpartisan. So you don't have to be a member of a party and you don't have to say what party you're from. So that doesn't really matter at all, because the things that we're dealing with is whether do you have a pothole in your street? Do you feel safe in your community? Are there enough police and fire workers? Is your garbage being taken out? When you turn on the faucet, does water come out? So those kinds of things it doesn't really matter what political party you are. So it's much more important what kind of person you are and how well you treat others and if you inspire trust in people or not. If you've kept your word in the past, if you've worked with people and you've built a good reputation of doing what you say you're going to do, all those things are far more important. You can learn skills, at least at the local government level. Party doesn't matter. It's because you're working on things that make people's lives better and makes your quality of life better. And that doesn't have a party. It doesn't matter.
That's so cool. And guys, as a citizen resident of Henderson, is one of the safest and most beautiful communities I've ever been to. So Mayor Romero is doing a phenomenal job. So Mayor Romero, my final question I ask this of all of our guests: what advice would you have for these kids as they go off into the world and figure out what kind of lives they want to live?
Challenge yourself. Don't listen to chatter about, gossip and stuff about you or about others. Don't participate in it and just focus on your goals. Focus on building relationships. The people that you surround yourselves are the people that are going to lift you up and help you succeed. So make sure those are good people that you've surrounded yourself with and just go for it. Don't not challenge yourself.
It's wonderful advice. And before I end the meeting for all, before I click X on this window, I allow everybody to say thank you to our guests. So can we all collectively say thank you to Henderson, Nevada Mayor Michelle Romero.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.